Welcome to Make Your Big Impact. I am your host, Angel Tuccy, and this is the show for authors, speakers, and thought leaders who know their story isn't just meaningful, it's meant to move people, create influence, and drive real results. And today's episode is one of my most favorite formats because we're hosting a roundtable conversation with powerful voices who have each taken their message and turned it into impact in their own unique way. And they're about to share with you what they're actually working on and what happens when you step into visibility, authority, and leadership. Let me introduce today's panel. First, we have Dr. Trina Reed, Canadian sexologist, best-selling, award-winning author of the world's first self-help fiction. Trina, how are you doing today?
I am so excited to be here, and thank you for creating this and having me on. It's a pleasure to be here.
You know what? I can't wait. It's always an exciting, little adventure of where's the conversation going to go when we have a room full of guests like this. But I'm super glad you jumped in.
Yeah. I'm glad you introduced me first because I'm sure the other panelists are a little in shock right now.
Who is in the room with us, right? and I always say, there's no accidents, there's no coincidences. The people in the room, there's almost always a common thread, but it always turns into a really fun conversation. So you'll keep us loose. Next, we have Doug Thorpe, who is a servant leadership coach, right? So you'd almost think these are polar opposites on how they came to be, but we all serve people in a really beautiful way. Doug, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Angel, and it is a pleasure to be here. I'm really looking forward to this discussion.
Me too. And next, he's been in my world for so long. Y'all know I'm on a mission to interview all the hosts in my podcast network. And one of our favorites, most sought after, most popular when people hear what he talks about, we have Nick Elliott, the wine guy. Nick, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Angel. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
I know this has just been a long time coming, right? We've been in each other's worlds for a long time. This has just been a really long time coming. And then rounding out today's panelists, we have Mathew Kerbis, a subscription attorney and CEO of Practi, Practi. Practi. I'm so glad you gave me the pronunciation for that. Mathew, how are you?
All right, I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
I am so excited, right? Seemingly random. Where's this conversation going to go? Well, I am so excited to see where it flows through as well. And I'm Angel Tuccy. I am building the leading visibility ecosystem, transforming experts into recognized authorities through publishing and podcasting. And on today's episode, you're going to hear from different perspectives, but one shared mission. They're each making a bigger impact with the message they were each called to share. And so before we dive in, I'm just going to have you tell us what you do, and then in one sentence, the project you're most excited to be working on right now. And I'll start in the same order that I introduced you. So Trina, we're going to lead up with you. Tell us what you do and the project you're most excited about right now.
So I help women in long-term relationships thrive after the honeymoon stage is over. And I've been doing this for over 25 years. And what I'm most excited about, the project I'm most excited to do is help women in their sexual circumstance with fiction. So there's a lot of nonfiction books out there. I wrote a bestseller, and I just feel like even though there is a huge segment of women who want to read nonfiction, there's an even bigger section of women who only read fiction. And so let's get the education out to those women too. That's more than one sentence.
Yeah, for sure. Fiction is, it sells better than nonfiction. And so you're tapping into and reaching your target audience on a platform and a medium that they want to read. So I think that's just absolutely brilliant.
Thank you.
All right. Next we have, where did we go? We did Doug. Doug is next. Tell us what you do and the project you're most excited to be working on right now.
Yeah, Angel, thank you. What I do, I am, as you mentioned, a proponent of the servant leadership mindset. And the big reason I'm driven to that is that for all of my experience in the business world, large and small, old management playbooks don't work anymore. Everybody at work has a different mindset about work, and those who either own the company or are leading teams within the company need a different mindset. The big project I'm working on right now, coming up right around the corner, May 15th, I have a release of a new book called Steady, the Leadership Framework. What this book is a compilation of 8 years and over 1,000 client stories. One of the big things I challenge people with is to determine the kind of leader they really want to be and do some deep work internally with their own mindsets and lay out a framework. I've compiled all my notes and I've got the top 12 things people have chosen to be part of their personal framework. It's covered in the book, and that's coming out May 15th.
I love that. So, right, we're, just a few weeks after this broadcast. So if it's after May 15th, the book is already out. But as of the release of that, you guys have to wait a couple of weeks. Doug, what's the best way for people to get a copy of it, get on the list, and, get into your world?
It's going to be on Amazon, and my direct website is dougthorpe.com, full name.
DougThorpe.com with an E on the end of
That's
Thorpe.
an E on the end of
Yep.
Thorpe. That's right.
And let me go back to you, Trina, really quick, because we talked about what you do, but I want to make sure we give a place where people can connect with you and find you. Where's the best place for that?
Oh, so the easiest place is my website. It's trinareed.com, and my books, The Sex Course and The Taboo Show, which The Taboo Show just launched in March, are both on there, and you can have a free sample and see if you like it. So there's a lot of really nice freebies on my website, so go check them out.
We love our freebies, right?
Especially my freebies, like my freebie, like I've got really wonderful freebies, but I'll let you find that out yourself.
Okay, it's trinareed.com. Go find out and let us know in the comments. Are they really fun freebies? That we want to know. The show is The Taboo Show. Then we have Doug Thorpe, and you can find dougthorpe.com. Grab his copy of his book, because it'll be out any minute now. And then how about you, Nick? Tell us what you do and the project you're most excited to be working on right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I am at the core, I'm a wine educator. So I do all types of tastings, corporate as well as private. And I also host tours all over the world to take small groups and learn about wine and also a little bit about food as well. But my trips are mostly about culture. And the thing that I'm most excited about right now is a trip that I'm planning to Portugal during harvest season 2027. That's going to be really, really cool.
Oh my gosh, how do people find out about that?
You can find all of my stuff, including my freebies, on my website, which is thewineguy.vin, like vineyard, VIN.
You got the wineguy.vine?
Vin, VIN.
Oh, just VIN. Okay. The
Mhm.
wine guy. I didn't even know, right? All these dots now, right? There's so many different, like, in my day, right? They had one. Okay,
But
dot
Nick,
Vin.
did you
I
bring
like it.
samples today?
I know, right?
I'm on water today, unfortunately.
You know what though, Nick, you can just tell people I did. Just go grab your wine glass, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And pour them out, all right? And
Yeah, it's
we'll
very,
receive.
very light colored wine.
Mm. Okay, I'm loving just how we're serving people, really cool experiences so far. Mathew, how about you? Let's round it up. Tell our audience what you do and the project you're most excited to be working on.
Yeah, it's always great to have another the so-and-so because we've got the wine guy and I'm the subscription attorney. I'm Mathew Kerbis. And I'm on a mission to kill the billable hour, starting with legal services. And actually, I got my start doing podcasting. My podcast, Law Subscribed, which led to me, actually, I am an attorney, but it led to me interviewing lawyers about it to go and start my own solo practice firm where I don't bill time and track time. I bill on subscription and fixed fees, but everyone's a subscriber. And then after doing that for over 4 years, decided I was done with just talking about it. I had to start a software company to help other lawyers actually do it. And that's what I'm doing now at Practi.ai. And that's the biggest project I'm most excited about. I'm not just teaching, I'm not just coaching, I'm not just doing through showing. I'm actually created a tool to help lawyers do it too.
I love this. I love this. Good for you. Way to go. And I bet you, right? Like this is you're disrupting an industry, right? It's always build, right? You know, the old way, but this is how you really stand out and make an impact, is take an industry that's kind of doing things the way they've always done it. And
And I've never heard someone say I was happy to pay those billable hours to that lawyer. And so if you want transparent pricing for your legal services and to have like a legal person on your team that you know what it's going to cost, but it's a fraction because you don't need a full-time lawyer on your team, like this is where the subscription model thrives. So everybody who's like a potential user of legal services, everybody, we all benefit when lawyers have transparent pricing. And so I like to say, tell your lawyer that if you want transparent pricing, they should use Practi.
okay, and is that the website you want people to go to?
Yeah,
Is practi.ai?
Practi.ai, that's the main thing. If you want to hear me talking about it, MathewKerbis.com. That's where all my speaking engagements are and where this video will live in the future.
I loved that. All right, MathewKerbis.com, practi.ai, and I am, oh shit, I was writing and trying to talk at the same time. It's MathewKirby.com. Sorry, I couldn't do it at Kerbis.com. Okay, all right, and I am Angel, the book angel, right? Because I help you publish your book and get you booked on podcasts. So if you think I need booked and I need a book or I need to get booked, we are your one-stop shop, and you can grab our visibility blueprint at visibilitybeforebreakfast.com. And so super excited to just take this journey with you all. As we think about the story and where you guys have been, like incredible things that you guys are working on right now, but let's go back. What was that pivotal moment where you realized your message and what you were doing was bigger than you, and you had to put it on, in a book? Or, many of you are authors, on a podcast, on a stage, like, and bring your story out into the world. And I'm going to go in reverse. So Mathew, I'm going to start with you. What was that pivotal moment for you that you're like, I need to go speak out about this?
Yeah, I always felt that I needed to like get the word out. That's why I kind of started the podcast first. So like it just became a natural way to just record these conversations and to publish it. But the big moment for me was lawyers, we have to maintain our license. So we have in the US, they're called continuing legal education courses. So I was teaching one of my first CLEs about the subscription model. Actually might have been my first one I was teaching. And afterwards, lawyers came up to me and they said, I will pay you to teach me how to do this. And I was like, whoa, I didn't realize that was an option, right? So like, I just thought I could do it myself or give it away for free. And I didn't realize that there was real value there. I mean, this was 4 years ago now, where I thought, oh, like there's something here beyond just the idea. There's value here that at least the community I'm trying to serve is willing to pay something for it.
Cool, right? So that's a good sign when somebody says, "Can I hire you? Can I pay you for what you know?" And I've actually had a couple guests on here that's kind of been their journey too, and it's very, very eye-opening. And how fabulous is that to have somebody say, "Can I pay you?"
Of course, then it's like, what do I charge and how do I package it? And what, like, there's a lot of questions that come after that. But like, just knowing somebody would pay you for something you just gave away for free for an hour is really cool.
Yeah, I used to speak at a small, like, oh, it was like a startup convention, and and it was so great because here had all these startups, and they were all undercharging, so you could go and be like King Midas and like, I'll hire you, I'll hire you, I'll hire you, and we would get all these things because they were brand new, and yeah, they didn't know how valuable so you want to get them right when they first come out, and so but you figure it out pretty quickly after that, and it sounds like you've dialed it in. Let's see. Nick, how about you? What was that pivotal moment? Like the wine guy, like that's pretty cool, and going out and teaching people and doing the tours, but you're speaking about it, you're publishing about it. When did you realize that? What was that pivotal moment for you?
For me, it's always been a one-to-many, thing. So I would go speak in front of groups. I would speak in front of large groups, small groups, whatever. And my wife said to me one time, you should try to cast a wider net, and you start doing like meetups kind of thing, and free, essentially educational classes, meant to bolster business, of course. So I started posting on Eventbrite and Meetup, and doing just simple Zoom calls like this, where I would get 40, 50 people together on the call, and we would have an interactive conversation about wine and food and culture, travel, things like that. And then I was not a podcast listener, and certainly not a podcast host. So I basically just decided to roll that entire idea into the podcast. So I created Pour and Explore last year, and that was the moment came when people were asking me to put more information out there. So for me, that was the moment, and the podcast was I think the natural next step for me.
So there was demand, right? People asking for more, and you'd created
Yeah.
that. And you responded to it, right? I mean, maybe one thing, right? Somebody asks you, and you're like, well, no, right? No, you
Yeah.
actually responded. All right, Doug, how about you?
Yeah.
You're publishing, you've got a podcast, you're doing all these incredible things. When did you realize like I need to get this message out on bigger platforms and out into the world?
Yeah, for me, it was directly related to what I would call my career arc. I came out of college with the intent of making the military a career. I was a commissioned officer, but after I did a few years on duty and paid back all my obligations, I said, nah, I don't think this is for me. I'm a little too free spirit for that, but loved it, loved the experience, have the highest regard for those who serve as our military champions. But ironically, I went into banking of all things after leaving the Army, and loved what I was doing there. Spent 20, 25 years directly in the front line of banking. But I did as all good bankers do. When I was offered an early retirement, I took the money and I turned into a consultant. And what I discovered in my consulting journey, there were a lot of people that would wag their finger and say, hey, can you come in here and shut the door? I just need to talk to somebody. And they had some burden. Maybe it was relationship with their boss or some project they were trying to champion and wasn't getting any traction, whatever. And I guess I was a trusting face, and I would listen to them. And when I got tired of the travel associated with consulting, I turned my attention to what it might mean to be a coach and really formulate things. And then when I leaned heavily into that, that's where I landed on this takeaway that since COVID, we've had a major shift in the mindset at large of the masses that are going to work. Those who might be either, paid by the hour or even salaried, they've got different expectations about what they need from their company leadership. And it's showing up in big ways in companies large and small. So that's when I really got focused on the servant leadership. That's kind of how I always approach things anyway. And it was a natural fit for me to promote that. And yes, I've been doing my podcast now for about 4 years, 4.5. We tomorrow we will release episode number 485,
Wow.
and had some amazing guests on the show. I always have a guest. I don't do the single talking head very often. I've done it a couple of times, but I prefer interview format.
Me
But
too.
what?
I said
What?
me too.
Yeah. So yeah, and it's a real organic discussion, no scripted questions or anything like that. But thank you, Trina, for that tip on the collaborate. I too, I'm going to go back over my 485 and be sure we've got everybody tagged appropriately.
Yeah, we had a great pre-show conversation. Trina gave us all a really incredible tip on getting more visibility on our shows. And so that was awesome. Well, Doug, I'm glad that you stepped into that, right, and responded and are now taking your message out into the world. And thanks so much for being a part of what we're doing. And congratulations, 485 episodes. Like if you guys follow statistics about podcasting, I think that like most podcasters, like tons of people start podcasts but never get past episode 6. So, to have that longevity and that many under your belt is incredible, and I'm glad we could connect and have you here today. Trina, how about you? And what was that moment? Because what you do is pretty spicy and fun, and I imagine like people were asking for it, and but to step out into this space, what was that moment that you're like, "Yep, I'm going for it. I'm going to do this."
Well, I've always wanted to be in the public eye. I'm an award-winning international speaker, and I've always wanted to write books. I've always wanted to be an educator. So like that was always set in stone. But like before 2008, I would say I was on at least 1,000 different media interviews, TV and radio, and this is like pre big podcast times. So, and this, I had my own radio show, radio column, I had my own syndicated newspaper column. Like, so I was really out there with information, but something kept coming back over and over again. And that was I could speak about anything sex negative. So, sexual dysfunction or sexual unhappiness, or, you talk about terrible, terrible things like, you know, um, like just, I could talk about anything negative. The
Mhm.
moment that I talked about female sexual pleasure, I got censored. And so what I started seeing is that what was out in the world was only negative information about having sex, especially, and there was like virtually no information about female sexual pleasure. And so, honestly, like they say that sex sells, but my experience doing this for 25 years is it's been pushing water up a hill every single day. And if I didn't love women so much, and if I didn't want women to have that, I did burn out. And,
Mm.
I did want to hang up and just say, no, I can't do this anymore. But then this new world of social media and like social media is constantly shadow banning me and blocking me and stopping me. Like, I have to work really hard to work around everything social media. And honest to goodness, if you go onto my website or my YouTube or my Substack, I am so vanilla. Like I am like as far as what I do, I'm the most vanilla of them all. So I'm not even doing that provocative of stuff. So like my mission now is just to get as
Almost like we need to come up with like a new word for it, because I know even like with traditional media, Trina, like I had one of our authors wrote a book, and it had the word sex in the title, and like we can't do press
yeah,
releases, we can't put it in headlines, like yeah,
no, you
so we
can't.
almost
Yeah, I
like
can't. I can't advertise my books on Amazon,
yeah.
or I can't. Like I can't
Hmm.
do like so. Like I am stopped and blocked, and at
Hmm.
every
Hmm.
single way.
Hmm.
And, I think for some people that would be discouraging, but for me, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make this work. And so it's podcasts like you and other podcasts that have me on, that have me talk about, like I'm about couples staying together, being happily connected for a very long time. I don't know how that is salacious or provocative, right? Like it's just about staying connected to the person that you love. And so it's podcasts like you that have me on, that let me speak freely, that this is what is making the difference. Like, so thank you for that.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. I'm super glad that you're here. And this actually goes into my next question, because I was going to ask you all, like, when you look back, what was the action that most accelerated your success or created momentum, and why did it work? And so you started talking about like getting booked on podcasts. Was there something else that created that momentum or has given you that, success accelerator?
It's honest. This is such a boring response. And I'm sorry because it's not sexy at all, but it was starting to pay attention to my analytics. I've just started really digging into what was working, what wasn't working on all my channels, and it was just getting comfortable and embracing the analytics. And then it was like, oh, well, because I guess I had this feeling of, I'm not doing it right, or I'm not good enough, or, but it's not. It's just it's just figuring out what people want to watch and then doing more of that, right? Like that's all it is. It's not rocket science, but that was the turning point for me, is just embracing the analytics.
Okay. And then what did that show you? Was it like topics? Was it where to post? Like what platform
Yeah,
was? Like what did
so
you?
so I found out that Instagram and Facebook, like they're like it's a minefield for me. I don't, so I've like I've had huge Facebook followings that got shut off just like that, just like that. I'm sure we know somebody, but like I don't do well on Facebook and Instagram because I just don't, but I do really well on Pinterest.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, who would
Well,
have thought?
I mean, I think the thing when you first logged in, I'm like, look at how pretty her background is. And so the visuals, I'm sure, are very
Yeah.
helpful. Oh,
Well, it's more Pinterest is a an SEO. It's long tail. Like
mm,
you put your pins up and then you put your keywords in and then it's a search engine. So when people go on to Pinterest, they're not browsing. They're looking for very specific things and they're keying it in, right? So and like the thing, you post something and 4 years later, it's still a valuable pin because people are still searching for that information, right? So I think and Pinterest for me, it's the majority is women,
yeah.
and so women, it's the clientele that I'm looking for. So it's not for everybody, but
Yeah.
it's
No,
the
yeah. You find your people.
Pinterest is similar to YouTube, where YouTube is a search engine, and people go onto YouTube searching for different cat things, and because I've been able to optimize my keywords and my YouTube channel, when I look at my analytics, it shows that the majority of people are finding me through keywords.
That makes sense. That makes sense. This is what people are searching for. It's one of the reasons why we talk about putting out articles because they are so keyword rich of what people are looking for. So I love that you've discovered it, right? It's not sexy, but it's the important stuff as business owners, right? We need to look at our numbers, and that means even our analytics. So great, great suggestion and advice. Matthew, I'm going to go with you next. How about you? What was that action that accelerated or created momentum for you?
Yeah, I mean, so many moments, right? And we got to try to keep creating moments that create momentum, right? Keep that flywheel going, get that momentum spinning, let the perpetual motion machine take over and let it keep going. But I mean, just like when I was just like the people who said yes when I was a complete unknown,
Hmm.
right? Just reached out to with an idea. Hey, I want to talk to you about, subscriptions being a viable business model instead of billing by the hour for law firms, and talking to lawyers who had done it. Um, I got early on my podcast, episode 33. I'm now on I've recorded over 200. I think my mainline episode that's live is like 174. I've had many special ones, but on episode 33, I had not even been publishing. And in the beginning, I didn't publish every week. Like, Descript didn't exist back then. Like, it was hard to get podcasts out, right? 4+ years ago, pre-AI, pre-generative AI that was useful. And so Robbie Kellman Baxter said yes to me early on. And she's like big in the subscription economy space. She's written a bunch of books on it. She had her own really successful podcast for a while. I think she kind of ran out of guests. I mean, when you're in the subscription space, there's a limited amount of relevant people. But like just having her come on, she helped Netflix with their subscription model when Netflix was a startup. I mean, like that was a big get. And then for episode 100, I was able to get the author of the book subscribed, who's the CEO of a publicly traded company, Teen Joe of Zuora, and like still biggest guest to date. And I kind of, I planned it all like, hey, it's episode 100. I've been publishing for almost 2 years now. Like, this is a real thing. So it's just like getting like those big guests was like really big for me. But even then, like when like starting my own subscription-based firm, that first client was like, hey, I'm coming with you. My Jerry Maguire moment of I'm leaving this law firm. Who of my clients are coming with me? And this one client was like, I'm subscribing right away. Right. And like that subscription could pay for my first year's operating expenses. Right. So that was huge. And then just most recently, I was doing one of my speaking engagements, and this venture capital firm in the legal tech space was like, wow, what you're doing is really cool. Have you ever thought about productizing that? was like, yes, I have. Can I show you my pitch deck? Which is like really, as I now know, was really, really bad back then. And they were like, well, hey, like we really like the idea of Shopify for SMB law firms, but we also only invest in Series A. So good luck. And keep us updated, right? I was like, that was the motivation for me to like, okay, if they say this is an investable idea, if I could get it to a certain point, I have to go out and try to make it happen.
I love that. I love that. Like we pivot, right, on the go, right? We put something out there. It might not work. It might not be perfect. It might not even be. It might be stupid, right? Right. But you just pivot as you go, and we learn from it. And I think that's a great lesson for all of us. You don't have to have it figured out. Just
Oh my gosh, I did not have it figured out, Angel. I'm just going with the flow over here.
I, that sometimes, I mean, it's really scary to think about, right? Especially if you're investing and this is your main gig, right? And you're putting everything in this and you don't really feel like you have a roadmap. But when you listen to all those that have really succeeded, they went with their gut, their intuition, and honestly, it's the smarter voice, right? Rather than sometimes all of these loud, noisy things. Like if we just trust and listen to that inner voice, right? I think that and
Yeah,
not fight it.
and nothing happens fast, right? Like when I had that conversation with that legal tech investor, that was last June, right? We're recording in April of the following year, right? And like I'm still building, right? And I have a technical co-founder, and like we're very, very early days. Like things, even with vibe coding and AI, like things are faster than they used to be. Like I think we're at like where we would be in year two, like in like the old, way things used to be done. But you know, like you got to
It still takes a minute.
take
Yeah.
these moments and use it as motivation and like and build and don't stop, because like the only way you get to 400 something episodes like Doug is you keep going.
Yeah. Amen. Yeah, absolutely. Nick, how about you? What was the action that accelerated your success or created momentum, and why did it work?
Sure. For me, it was putting myself out there more in the form of networking. I think that networking is a great way to build business, and it was kind of after I decided that individuals were not necessarily my customers. I mean, ultimately, they were my customers, but I would find more customers through building business relationships and referral relationships. So that was a big trampoline for me, moving forward in my business, concentrating on more of a B2B model, and then turning those relationships into actual paying customers. I found an amazing um, service online a couple years ago called Alignable. I'm not sure if anyone here is on Alignable, but it's a wonderful place to meet people, to build relationships, create referral partners, things like that. So that's been a big boon for me and my company.
Good for
Absolutely,
you.
just getting out there and meeting more people.
It takes a village, right? Like we're all looking for more marketing partners every single day, and we all know people, right?
Right.
And that's a lot what we were talking about kind of before we went live was just to collaborate and to share. It doesn't take really anything to introduce somebody, to make a comment about them, share them, right, on socials or send somebody a text about somebody else. And we all know enough people to keep every small business in business if we would just,
Hmm.
share and lift them up. So I'm glad you found your place. Doug, how about you?
Absolutely.
What was that accelerator for you that created the most momentum?
I think I'm a little bit like Matthew. There were probably many, but I think one that sticks out to me is really what turned out to be contrarian moments, and I'm maybe a little bit related to Trina's story. I didn't get pushback from platforms and systems like any of the social media channels, but I actually got pushback from a few business leaders that I really respected because when I decided to turn on my coaching practice, I reached out to several people that I highly respected and regarded, and I wanted to get their thoughts on what I was doing. And in simple terms, my plan number one or point zero, I guess, it was to basically sell leadership training, leadership development. And one of the CEOs I met with shook his head and he said, Doug, you're going to die on the vine. I said, how's that? And he said, I am absolutely convinced that less than 5% of the CEOs in America ever speak the word leadership, and far fewer understand it.
Hmm.
And he said, you're going to have difficulty if that's how you're pitching. You're going to have to come up with something different. He said, I'm not telling you don't do the meat of what you're thinking, but you're going to have to find a different way to make entry into those offices so that people will pay attention. Two things happened. Number one, my psyche about that was, oh heck no, you can't tell me that. I don't believe that. I'm going to go forward. I believe in this. And the second thing was, though, I did take it under advisement to some degree, and so in the early years I had a slightly different pitch on it. But as COVID evolved and the seismic shift that happened in the workforce at that time, I started getting data that supported my ideas that there had to be a new discussion about leading teams, building trust, creating performance through more positive means than what we did traditionally with old models like command and control. People just weren't going to suffer that anymore. They didn't want to go to work for a command and control freak.
No kidding. No kidding, right? Too many options out there. Well, Doug, we're actually for all of us, we're coming up on our time together. So let's wrap it up and have you each just share like what's the most common piece of advice that you tend to give that you might want to share with our audience today, and then also repeat how they can follow you and connect and stay in touch with you. So, Doug, what's the most common piece of advice you tend to give?
I challenge people that have been promoted into levels of leadership to really do the work to think about the leader they really want to be. Most people get put into management roles by accident, and there's no preparation and very little thought for the first two or three promotions. Then they finally wake up and say, I might need some help doing this. But one of the key things you got to decide is, who do you really want to be? And I talk about that a lot, both on my podcast and in the blog. And you can get access to both of those at Doug Thorpe. That's Thorpe with an E on the end.com. Would love to hear you. I do offer a free 30-minute exploratory call if anybody's got a need and is curious and would like to chat.
Love that. Thanks so much for being with us here today, Doug. Love connecting with you and hearing your story and just the impact you're making in the world. So I appreciate you.
Thank you, Angel.
All right, I'm going to go to you, Nick. And this is so funny. I just got a text from my dad. You can't see it, but he says, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. Think I will have a glass of wine. You too?
My kind of guy. Absolutely.
So yeah, what's the most common piece of advice you tend to give? And then how do we stay in touch with you?
Sure. The running theme of pretty much everything I do is to learn about and respect other people's culture. And it's really the best way to get to know someone is to learn about and understand who they are. Whether that's someone in your backyard or someone across on the other side of the world. Understanding and respecting someone's culture is really a great way to feel good about the world and to feel good about yourself. I very, very highly believe that, and that's a thread through pretty much everything that I do. And please find me on all the big social media. I'm not on TikTok anymore, but you can find me on Instagram and Facebook. And then, of course, again, my website is thewineguy.vin, VIN.
Again, so good to finally meet you and be in the same room with you, Nick.
Same to you.
Matthew, how about you? What's the most common piece of advice that you tend to give?
So, to consumers of legal services, my most common advice is paying a lawyer by the hour is optional. It doesn't have to be that way. Demand transparent pricing from your attorney. And if they don't know how, Practi knows how, which leads me into my other piece of advice I give to lawyers, which is, hey, if you don't know how to do subscription-based billing or alternative fee-based billing, that's why we built a free tool at notebook.practi.ai. You could go there, ask all about whatever practice area you're in, whatever jurisdiction, how to package, how to set up different tiers, how to price, what to call subscriber benefits. It's all there, and it's from my 276 curated sources. It's built on the back of Notebook LM, which is a great AI tool. But my advice broadly for generally everybody in this AI age, and I do a lot of AI teaching and training, is whatever AI tool you're using, if you're not sure which is the one tool to use, first of all, you can't remodel a bathroom with just a power drill. You're going to need a lot of tools. But if you just wanted the one tool, and I'm not giving out an affiliate link for this, I have no financial, nothing's coming back to me. Perplexity, perplexity.ai. My mother, who doesn't know how to use technology, hasn't asked me about how to do stuff with her phone in over a year. And she's just using the free version. Easiest $200 a year I spend on AI. It does math. It's amazing. And if you're not sure which other AI tool to use for whatever other purpose, Perplexity will be able to help you with that. So, like, best AI tool out there, Perplexity.
I love it. My mom hasn't had to ask me a tech question about her phone. That is like a game changer right there. Well, this has been so much fun, Matthew. I'm so glad you came. I'm glad I got to know you as well. Excuse me. Trina, can't go anywhere without getting a great piece of advice from Trina.
So my whole shtick, the biggest advice I always give is there are two main reasons why millions, maybe billions of couples worldwide do not have the sex that they want and deserve. And the first is the average woman in the average relationship is unable to ask for what she wants. And, so this inability to ask, and the thing that always kills me is that, so here's women feeling unable to say what she needs, and here's her partner saying, please tell me, I want to know. And after 25 years, I still don't understand why there's that gap, but it's there. And the second reason why couples don't have the sex that they want and deserve is that if a woman does learn how to ask for what she wants, she does not know how to lean into her pleasure because women are taught to push her pleasure away. And so it's really reprogramming her to understand her body and, all the things that are going on. And the thing is, once she is able to do these two things, the two of you are going to be so connected inside and outside the bedroom. Like it's like a slam dunk of, how do we make our relationship funner and better? And like it's all that. And it just comes down to these two things. And luckily, I have hundreds of YouTube videos. I've got Substack. I've got so much information out in the world about how women can do these two things. So if you go to my YouTube, it's at Dr. Trina Reed. All my social medias are at Dr. Trina Reed, and you can go onto my website, which also has a lot of really, really great information, trinareed.com, and you will find out how you and your partner can do these two things.
Two things, right? We can do these two things,
You
right?
can do these two things, and it's not hard. The thing is, everybody thinks this is a big, hard conversation. It's not. It's really not.
Well, you make it sound so doable, so achievable, right? That everybody's going to go and tell their friends, go and follow Dr. Trina Reed. We've got just two things that you can take action on today. It's going to change everything. And I'll tell you what, when you have a better personal life, you also have a better business, right? Like,
sure.
if you are struggling in your personal and intimate relationships, your business will struggle as well. So sometimes you got to look in the mirror to bring all that home. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been so much fun. So excited to have you all here. This was just a sample, right? Now, obviously, we bring this many people on. This is just a sample of who they are and what they do. As my audience, your job, follow them, connect with them, take advantage of all the goodies that they just gave to you. Plug in. This was just a little taste of introducing you to some of the most fabulous, wonderful people who are in my world. And if you want to plug in more, right, go to visibilitybeforebreakfast.com, get my blueprint, plug into our networks, plug into our communities. And if something that somebody said with you here today resonated with you, tag them in a post, share this with somebody you know that needs to hear it. And if you are a thought leader, an expert, a podcast host, author, make sure you are subscribed to the Make Your Big Impact podcast so you never miss an episode. I'm Angel Tuccy. This has been so much fun, and I will see you in the next episode. And until next time, remember, your story isn't just powerful, it is meant to make an impact. Take care.